Peacemaker Season 2, Episode 4 spoiler review, and then Easter eggs in that order. Let's go, let's get it. Something I loved about this episode was them taking full advantage of the TV format to give a whole episode for essentially Chris and Adebayo to just talk, or for Rick Flag and Harcourt to just talk. This was the character development episode. This is the episode where our characters got to grow on us more than they already have, right? Extended conversation between Adebayo and Chris was great. It gave us a much deeper look into their friendship that developed between seasons 1 and 2. I was a bit shocked though by the tip-off that there has been 6 months between episode 1 and episode 4. 6 months have passed in the series so far, and it does not feel like it at all. Outside of that conversation though, Econo Goat was the star of this episode. And it was a great little detail to see that Chris has Economist saved in his phone as Econo Goat. They're all great friends now, and I just love to see that. But man, seeing him finally stand up for himself somewhat and bitch back at the Argus people and spit in old boy's face, spit in Bird Blindness's face was hilarious, bro. I was howling laughing. One thing about the show is I've kind of complained about there being too many jokes or the jokes lingering for too long, but that does not apply in this episode. This episode had me cracking up, bro, from start to finish. Moments that weren't hilarious were really heartfelt. This was James Gunn at his best. This is what he does best, and he was on fire. Tim Meadows, man, talk about selling a joke, selling a bit. He had me crying in the few lines he did have. I liked the explanation for the quantum unfolding chamber a lot too. I felt like we were giving Peacemaker's dad a little bit too much credit to think that he could have built this insane interdimensional travel thing when Lex Luthor could only build a much more crude version. So this was a great explanation to see that Peacemaker's family and his dad, they didn't figure out some big scientific discovery. They stole it through cruelty and murmur, which is what they do. One thing I am very curious about though is this an interdimensional imp like they mentioned earlier in the episodes, or is this an alien of some kind who they just jacked? I'm not sure, but I am very curious to find out, because this is very much not a Mr. Mixapitalik type imp. This is a whole different thing. Michael Rooker's Eagle Hunter was really funny early in the episode, but as he went on and as we got into the fire dance scene, I thought, okay, we're doing the thing again where we lean too long on a joke and drag it out for too long. But no, it cut to him doing a whole mystical thing where he taps into, I think, the red. I could be wrong, but it seemed like he was going into the eyes of another bird to watch and hunt down eagerly. I'm pretty certain he was tapping into the red. So what I thought was them dragging a joke for way too long ended up leading into a real plot point that not only moved the story forward and set up for next episode, but also it expands the world of the DCU a little bit more. I really think this is our first glimpse into the red. And who knows, but maybe that's teeing up an Animal Man feature at some point in the DCU, because I would love to see my guy. Judo Master vs. Peacemaker Part 3 was brief, but the choreography went crazy. This was my favorite fight scene in Peacemaker so far, at least in Season 2. This was nuts. The way they displayed Judo Master using his weight and using his size to flip around was really cool, but then seeing Peacemaker just being so much bigger and overpowering him, and then finishing the fight by basically squashing him was really funny, but both satisfying as well. Even though this was the episode where our plot moved forward the least, it was the one where our characters grew the most, so I really loved it. This is my favorite episode of the season so far, and I love that we're taking advantage of the TV format. This is not a movie stretched out into episodes. This is a TV show that takes full advantage of the format to tell a full, deep story, and I'm loving it so far. I can't wait for episode 5.